Scooby-Doo capital G here, letting you guys know what the heck happened at YCS Bochum 2018. I spent my entire Sunday watching the live stream and reading up on the features and coverage so that you didn't have to, and I have to say, holy shit, I am actually just starting to catch my breath. If you guys did not watch the event, if you didn't read the coverage, sit back because this was one of the craziest, it was one of the craziest competitive events I've ever seen in my entire life. It was that shocking, it was that amazing, there were so many storylines. I really want to beat this point into your heads. This is what a Yu-Gi-Oh story is made of. If you guys have ever seen my Yu-Gi-Oh stories where I try to, I try to fill in players who weren't playing in the past or players who are new to the game, some kind of crazy things that happened in Yu-Gi-Oh's history that are basically unbelievable, that would kind of make you go, wait, what? Gladiator Beasts were a tier 0 deck that dominated the game for 6 months? How could that be, Cap? It's a crazy table 500 deck that everybody just, rags on, and I'm like, yeah, it really happened. This essentially was a Yu-Gi-Oh story happening before our eyes. World Chalice ended up winning its first ever YCS championship, and this was the largest event competitively in European history. Holy shit, it was so amazing, so exciting, so unbelievable. When you put those two factors together, when you're trying to explain this to newer players in 5-6 years, that World Chalice, that deck is that, the deck that has been power creeped into the ground, that no one plays, that it's kind of just a laughable meme deck, it's table 500, that deck was actually king of the Yu-Gi-Oh world, they probably won't believe you. And that's why I'm saying this was an amazing event. I think a lot of people are still absolutely stunned by the results and by the finals. As I always do, guys, I like to start with the attendance of the event. I have said habitually, as long as we get 1,000 players out of YCS, I think that the attendance was good, it's healthy. Can't say Yu-Gi-Oh is in a bad state, but man, the European players, I gotta give a shout out to all of you guys across the pond. You showed up, you came, you saw, you conquered. Our attendance for this event was absolutely staggering. I'm talking about Konami wasn't even prepared for this many players. They had to set up chairs and tables outside because they were like, whoa, chill out, guys. We weren't expecting damn near 2,000 of you guys to come out and actually want to play. 1,951 players, guys. That is absolutely amazing. This is actually very reminiscent of YCS Long Beach all the way back in like 2012, where they ended up having 4,000 plus players, and they had to like rent out like 3-4 additional rooms at the convention center where it was being held. This was, no one saw this coming. This attendance is amazing, but I think it's really interesting that if you look at Yu-Gi-Oh's attendance, and really the last couple of years, we have been breaking records consistently. As much as people like to rag on the game, and I went to ARG Charlotte on Saturday, man, the Yu-Gi-Oh event was like tiny, guys. I'm talking about like 120 people, and the Dragon Ball event was like 350, and the Dragon Ball guys were letting us know, they were like, hey, we're taking over, guys. And it kind of shows you that Yu-Gi-Oh still kind of is king. We're still part of that big three of Pokemon and Magic, and we kind of deserve the respect that we get because the players come out and they support the game. And you look at now this being the largest European competitive event in Yu-Gi-Oh history. Last year we broke the attendance record for Euros in 2017. We broke the NAWCQ attendance in 2017, which we also broke in 2016. So we broke that record in back-to-back years. It's just amazing that Yu-Gi-Oh keeps breaking these attendance records back to back to back to back to back. I mean, 2016, 2017, 2018. Would it shock me at all if later this year we had the largest YCS ever, like over 4,000 people? No, it wouldn't, because our attendance for some reason just seems to be just amazing right now. Now let's talk about the second big takeaway, and I'm gonna have to spend some time on this, guys. I'm sorry, I was messing around, I was scrolling around. Let's see if we can actually find them. Boom, there's Marco. The biggest takeaway of this event, even bigger than the absolutely staggering and mind-blowing attendance, was World Chalice. What a fucking YCS. And we're not talking about a little small YCS of 800 people, maybe 1,500, which would be good, because I believe the attendance record for any European event was 1,600. So we absolutely shattered that record. We're talking about basically a 2,000 event, a 2,000 person event. World Chalice ended up on top. And the thing about it is, and I felt very confident about World Chalice going into this format. I don't think many Yu-Gi-Tubers were really high on the deck. I put them tied with Paleo Frogs, I think, in the 5 spot. And before I grandstand too much here, you guys are gonna be like, Cap, shut the fuck up. You put Cleaford on your top 10 list. What do you know? That is absolutely true. I whiffed with Cleaford, but I did not whiff with World Chalice. There were a lot of factors as to why I thought World Chalice would be a very strong pick. Some kind of came to fruition. Some I just did not see actually coming. One of them was no more Maxi, guys. I think people know how high the ceiling is for the World Chalice deck. I mean, I consider it a hyperlink deck. I used to say that there were only 2 hyperlink decks in the game. Well, Pendulum Magicians now I would consider a hyperlink deck, but last format I said that there were only 2 hyperlink decks in the game, Spiral and World Chalice, and the power ceiling of World Chalice has always been something that is kind of breathtaking. It's something weird. I don't know why people will not play the deck. Some people say that it's too gimmicky, that it's too fragile, but you have so many ridiculous power cards like Brilliant Fusion and Venus, which can get you like 4 monsters on the board. You have Soul Charge, which just absolutely took over game 3. Oh my goodness, if you watch the finals, Soul Charge for 4 monsters when you have 5,700 life points, GG no re. You also have Gamma. And let me just show you guys a quick picture that summarizes it all, because if you're playing Pendulum Editions and you go second, this was in the finals, by the way, you can see that Marco turn 1, he's able to make Skyura, I'm gonna butcher his name, Skuldred, turn 1, he's got that linked with a Firewall Dragon. He's got that linked with Ib. So Firewall is now locked and loaded for 2 bounces. He's got a Daddy Gamecill sitting right here. Shout out to Daddy Gamecill on YouTube. He's got Gamecill sitting right here with 3,000 booty. I believe that this card will probably have 2 negates, because there's, well, I don't know. I think there's only 4 on here, but it doesn't matter. He's got a Gamecill that's a walking solemn on here. And then, oh, you're playing Pendulum Magicians? Oh yeah, we got Twin Twisters. What are Pendulum Scales? Oh, those are just those things that we blow up. What are you doing against this board turn 1? Seriously, there's no Max C. You only get 1 Ash Blossom for like 1 card. And in addition to that, one of the other reasons I was kind of high on World Chalice is you don't have to ridiculously pop off like this to win duels. There are other kind of win conditions in the deck. He played Archlord Christia, which I believe you can summon back from Arum, the Link 2 guy. Archlord Christia is kind of a win condition against Pendulum Magicians. Like, if they don't have purple poison to ram into that bitch, or if they don't have maybe one of their other 2 outs in the deck or something like that, you auto win against them. Same thing can be said against like ABC. It's like, summon Christia, okay, well, all right, I guess we just go to game 2. Like, it is pretty amazing how many just amazing plays that World Chalice has, and people still kind of avoid the deck like the plague. I do think that that's kind of funny, but some of these pictures kind of showcase the power of World Chalice. Look at this. This was in the finals when they went into time. He couldn't even Marcos is like, wait, what? I can't believe I won. Where you see like so much attack power, where he once again had Skuldred, Firewall that had already been used. He has the Gamecill with obviously another negate, and then he has I forget exactly which one. I think this is like Wanderer or Chosen's the other guy that becomes the Mech Knight, but a vanilla that's powered up by 300. So yeah, we ended up seeing World Chalice kind of come out of nowhere. Always been a deck that I think has been very respectable, but not saw a lot of play, and it ended up winning the event. And really, when you look at the top 8, there was so much parity in this event. I'm starting to realize more and more as we have European YCSs, the gap between European YCSs and North American YCSs over here where I live in NA, they are just, it's like the Grand Canyon, guys. Like, it feels like we're almost playing a different format where we have like OCG, TCG, or TCG like America, or TCG NA, and like TCG Europe. Because if you look at like what periodic or what tops and like the North American events, and then you go to like a European event that went after that, it's almost like night and day. Where YCS Atlanta, we had, I think over 50% of the top 32 was Pendulum Editions. But then if you look at this event, Pendulum Editions only took 9 spots. And, I wish they would have broken it down a little more. They ended up putting other as like 6 spots, which actually includes World Chalice. So if you look at the graph, you don't even technically know what won the event. You have to, I guess, assume other won the event. But Pendulum Editions not nearly as dominant as they were just 1 week ago at YCS Atlanta. And And I think it's because European players, for the most part, it's why you always see Lightsworn do extremely well at like European events, and they don't tend to do that well at North American events. I think more so than anything, European players just play what they're comfortable with. You see Paleozoic Frogs, that didn't really do well at Atlanta, but it ends up topping here. European players are more based on like just playing what they know, what they're comfortable with. Even Marco said he had been playing World Chalice for a very long time. He says that I thought it was consistent. He says, I ran the deck since it was released, so he knows all the plays. It's explosive and consistent. So he thinks highly of the deck, and he wasn't going to let a negative stigma like, oh, it bricks a lot, or oh, it's too fragile, stop him from playing that. Where I feel like, I don't know, over here in North America, man, I feel like we just try to follow whatever the meta is. But if you look at the top 8 breakdown, there was so much parity. This is not, do not walk away from this event thinking Pendulums dominated the event, because no, that is not the entire story. There was an incredibly diverse top 32. As you just saw, you see right here, our runner-up, he was playing Pendulum Magicians. He actually played some spicy tech. He was running rank ups in there. He ran one rank up. He said he couldn't find the second one. Shout outs to Lithium for getting all those amazing deck profiles. I will have some links in the description to his videos. I cannot wait to see the first place deck, the World Chalice. But he actually was using Beatrice with, I guess, the level 6s like Jackal and what's the other level 6? I don't know if Chronograph is level 6, but I know Pen Magicians do have level 6s to send the Argent Chaos to the graveyard, get it back to his hand, and then rank up for Utopic Zexal to essentially have like one of those monsters that makes it so your opponent can't really do much. Very interesting play style, or I guess very interesting ideology there. True Draco Demise in the top 8. You see Dino 60 card Shadow also in the top 8. I told you guys about the Dinosaur engine. You do not have to run that many cards, and mainly it's just overtext, man. That card is so amazing, being able to get you those double evolution pills, being able to get either another copy of itself onto the field, or my big friend Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, which can do so much damage. We saw obviously World Chalice. We have Zefra. Zefra was amazing. In fact, I think I've got a quick screenshot of Zefra. Now, I was a little disappointed because I talked so much. I saw so many people tell me, Cap G, Zefra are trash. They can't play without Needle Fiber. They don't have Denlong. They will not do any topping. And I said, guys, they got Ancient Fairy Dragon. It's all fine. The deck will be good. They can play the Mythical Beast, and I felt like we were just all kind of wrong. I mean, obviously, I knew Zefra was going to be really good. I did not see it making top 4 at this event. I thought that people had kind of just moved, all the Pendulum players wanted to play that, but you have searchable counter traps. Secret is such an amazing card, but yeah, no Ancient Fairy Dragon in here, which I thought was a little weird. No Mythical Beast in here, and you're seeing that Zefra actually got the job done. I think it was very interesting that he played Gammas, because usually in Pendulum decks, you want to have a monster turn 1, and I'm not really seeing so many explosive plays, but I don't know, maybe he was going to use it with like Dragon's Ravine, making sure that that doesn't get ashed or doesn't get ogred, because that can be obviously a very big pain in the butt. And actually, let me just pause for a second and talk about Gamma. We saw a decent amount of Gammas in this event, and in fact, Marco in his World Chalice, he actually ran Herald of the Orange Light, which I was just like, wait, what? That's, who plays that? But I think I'm starting to realize, and I talked about this in another video about hand traps, I think if you're playing Brilliant Fusion, you basically have to run Gamma, because Brilliant Fusion is a play, it's a card that makes all your plays go up essentially another level if you resolve it. Doesn't matter if you're playing like Gem Knights, your plays are going to be disgusting that turn. If you're playing World Chalice, if you're playing 60 card decks, like anytime you resolve Brilliant Fusion, your plays are disgusting. And I think it's a guaranteed way to make sure that your power cards go through. Those power cards can be Brilliant Fusion, they can be that Grass Looks Greener, they can be Transmodify because it sends the monster off the field as a cost. So anytime you need to be able to get that one card through to absolutely just blow up your play, I think that's when you have to run Gamma instead of running the other cards. Like this guy, from what I saw, I don't think he ran Ash. I do not think that he ran Ghost Ogre as well. I believe that he ran Gammas and Herald of the Arc Light. He was mainly worried about monster effects and not so much like stopping Potted Desires and whatnot. I guess when you have Gamma still on the field, you don't have to worry about that because, you know, Gamma still can actually stop those things. When you look at some of the other kind of crazy decks, this was actually the second place Pendulum deck. Again, guys, I will have links in the description to like Lithium's video so you guys can get all the explanations. With the Rescue Hamsters, this is the version I was talking about of like Pendulum Magicians where, you know, copies like Ash Blossom is really not all that effective against it, because if you're looking at this deck, I mean, is the only good card to Ash here like Pot of Desires, I guess? I mean, maybe you can Ash one of the mythical beasts and then they're trapped with a 4 scale in their pendulum zone. You know, he didn't run Wavering Eyes, so there's not that many cards you can actually Ash. You can also Ash Upstart Goblin. That would be kind of kappa, but I'm just starting to think that Ash Blossom may not be, oh, this isn't supposed to be loading. Ash Blossom might not be the staple that maybe we thought. Okay, this is a little embarrassing. All right, you go back there. There we go. And then there's True Draco Demise. I think that the new Spirit Monster, I talked about this a little bit in my What the Heck Happened at YCS Atlanta. I think people are starting to accept this as kind of staple because if you go second, you normal summon it, you kind of lock down your opponent's monsters, and you get additional summons because the True Draco spells and traps let you just get other summons. So some of the cards that I want to look at when it comes to the secondary market are not cards that have actually spiked yet, but cards that have potential to spike, because to me the card of the entire event was Saryuja Skuldred. Like, this card absolutely took over, and I did not see the impact. Like, it was one of the things that I didn't realize. I did not realize how much this was going to benefit World Chalice, not just being able to get the special summon, because it used to be in World Chalice, if you didn't have Firewall Dragon, you really couldn't get like Gamma Seal out of your hand unless you wanted to tribute summon, but who the fuck's doing that? Now you have another way of getting your Gamma Seal out of your hand. You have another way of getting Artsword Christia out of your hand. And really, Skuldred just makes the deck more consistent. It gives it a lot more options, and it lets it do some of the stuff that it wanted to do before, but just more consistently. Ningirasu, also a secret rare from World Chalice that people will run multiple copies of. This card has the potential to go up in price simply because if people are going to be interested in it, it is a secret rare. You do run multiple copies. But what was you guys' favorite takeaway from YCS Bochum? Was it the attendance? Was it World Chalice shocking the world? Was it the parity throughout the top 32 where Pendulum Edition didn't dominate? The Pendulum FTK barely saw much play, and Konami, the commentators, were super quick to point that out, man. They wanted people to know Pendulum Edition FTK ain't even that big of a deal. No e-balance for you guys. Was it the top 8 in the parody where I didn't even get a chance to talk about it, but we had invoked Mech Knights, which I'll do maybe I'll do a discussion on that later, making the top 8. We had Trickstars in top 8. We had Dinosaur Shadows. We had World Chalice. We had everything in here that you could think of. Whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already. Turn on that notification bell for daily videos.